You got any of those old on-prem apps that you want to take advantage of the cloud? Lifting and shifting, that's the easiest way to get started. Now, you probably don't want to just lift and shift, but like I said, it's a fantastic way to get started. In the next episode of DevOps Lab, Jay Gordon, he's going to be showing us how to do that. Welcome to the DevOps Lab On-Prem to the Cloud series. Now, in our last episode, Stephen walked us through how we can get started with our migration to the cloud. He showed us how to plan for the migration, how to figure out what all the moving pieces are. And in today's episode, we have as our guest, Jay Gordon. And Jay's going to walk us through that first step, the lifting and shifting. How's it going, Jay?
Well, I'm lifting right here, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to help you do some shifting. And, one of the things that I've had to kind of do a lot in my career is evaluate what's in front of me and make a decision on what's going to be happening next. And a lot of times when you want to make that big first step, I got to be honest with you, the lift and shift style migration becomes your friend. It's not the only way, but it certainly is the very first way to get started.
All right, so before we even go on, why don't you tell our viewers what exactly is lifting and shifting?
Sure. So, there's a couple of different ways we can think about how we do migrations. And, we could be doing refactoring, we could be rewriting our apps, we could completely put everything into cloud native. But if we get into a situation where we need to just pick up what we have and move it into the cloud, we tend to call that lifting and shifting. It's the least path of resistance, if you will. There's not quite as many barriers for you to actually begin lifting and shifting because you're essentially trying to take the content, the data, the things that are associated with a server that may already exist on premises in a data center. Maybe you have it as a virtual machine somewhere in your VMware configuration. Maybe you've got a whole bunch of Hyper-V hosts already set up. That's fine. These are things that can easily come to the cloud if you think about how to do it the right way. And so easy is a kind of a silly word to use sometimes when you're thinking about these. But when you think about which is the easiest way to start migrating, it's probably lifting and shifting. And it's mainly because you're just going to have to pick up what you got, move it along, put it down.
So to rephrase what you just said, lifting and shifting is basically taking, if my app is running on a machine locally in my data center, I just spin up the same type of machine, throw my app in there, and hooray for that, it's done. It's being hosted.
Yeah. We want to try to get a one-to-one, if you will, of what we have on our existing server and what our target server is. And so we have to look at ways to kind of do some evaluation.
Yep.
And see exactly what we're working with. And then we have to kind of think about where we're going to go to, how we're going to get there, and then what we're going to do once we're there. And so there's kind of like a few things that we need to kind of consider here. And first and foremost is how much we need to move, and are we using the right resources to move it? And so one of the things I think we can do, Abel, is go ahead and use tools that already exist, whether it's native tools, like there are migration tools that exist out there where you can copy a VHD and just move that over. And while that's really useful, it's still got a little bit of overhead, and that's fine. But there are native tools that we can use within Azure that will help us move our data, our apps, and everything else associated with it just from one server to another and to rehost everything. So that's another way of just thinking about it, Abel. It's rehosting. It's using the same type of configuration from one and just rehosting it on our new spot. And the big difference here is that instead of using some sort of on-premise hardware or some sort of hypervisor virtualization that we're using on our on-prem version, we're just choosing the cloud. And so we're becoming a cloud first class citizen without having to move into some sort of managed services or something like that. We can just say, you know what? I need a server. I want to put my stuff in there. Let's do it.
All
So
right,
Abel,
great.
we open up.
All right, so
Good.
it's great, right? We're ready now, right? We've decided we're going to lift and shift. We're basically going to spin up some VMs that matches what we have on premise. How do I get my apps over? Is there an easy way to get my apps that are running on-prem out into the cloud? Like, I'm sure we've got databases and stuff. How do we get all that data? Like, how do we do this?
So why don't you bring up my screen and let's take a look for a second. So one of the things that I really like is the ability to use our documentation in here to kind of power this idea. The one thing that's great about us at Microsoft is we've tried to document almost every single process that kind of explains how we do things. And so let's talk about what here it is. So we have the ability to start migrating on-premises physical servers. We can migrate our VMs using Xen, KVM, Hyper-V, VMware, like we all said. And these migrations are going to happen thanks to a tool. So let's go over. It's Azure Migrate. And so Azure Migrate is exactly what it says here. It's a centralized hub. It's going to assess what we need. It's going to help provide the platform to do it. And then it's going to assist you with making sure that your databases are available to be moved. It'll look at them. It'll do some analysis. There are tools for that. We'll look at that, especially when we do our SQL migration discussion in the future. We're definitely going to talk about that. But as you can see here, it's going to help do assessments on our servers, our databases, our web apps, our virtual desktops, and our data. So we'll use all these integrated tools like Azure Migrate and the server assessment. So why don't I kind of pull that up? What do you say?
Let's take a look, man. This sounds fascinating.
Sure. So let me go to my portal. Let me get one that looks better for you. Great. And so all I'm going to do, this is just from my regular Azure, I'm going to just go ahead and look at some of our options here. And you can see I've already been through them, but I can just type Azure Migrate here, but I've already got the icon on. I'll go ahead and click it. And so what Azure Migrate, when it comes up, here we go, is going to help me migrate my on-prem to Azure. And it's going to give me some options of things I can use that are already available in Azure to help me get on that quick path, if you will, to lift and shift. So the first thing I really need to do here, Abel, is I need to kind of do an assessment. I need to figure out what I actually am going to move. And so I've kind of already done this. And we're going to kind of take a look at that because the process is not quick. We have to create virtual machine appliances. Those appliances eventually have to do some analysis. So let's take a look kind of what happens. So if we go and we click Discover, we're going to see that we get some options to start discovering the machines that we need. And we have three main options here. We can do VMware, vSphere, Hypervisor. We can use Hyper-V, or we can check just physical general servers, whether it's already on Amazon, maybe it's in Google, maybe you just got straight up Xen hosts. And anyone who's done just straight up Xen host, you know, it's a thing. So at least we know where everything is. The next part is we're going to have to generate a key and create an appliance, because that key is essentially going to connect and authorize our appliance into Azure. And then we have
hold up a second. Let me stop you just for 1 second. Tell our viewers what an appliance is.
Sure. An appliance is literally like you would think of any single purpose kind of VM or something like that. It's a some software that runs on your VM, whether it's or as a VM or on your existing virtual machine. You basically just download it, and we can see here we have an OVA file, and I can just click download, and it'll allow me to use it within something like Hyper-V or VirtualBox, and just it. Or you can actually use this version, which is a zip file version, which is just going to grab a PowerShell script. And so you can take that PowerShell script, bring it over to your Windows machine, and have that install the required appliance on your existing VM. So you don't have to.
So it's basically kind of like an agent that runs on a machine, and it's going to do all your heavy lifting for you. It's going to figure out what's running. It's going to figure out what type of databases you have, what type of web app, and then it'll somehow magically move our data and move our apps for us.
Yep. And what we need to do is just some discovery. And so that's what if we're doing it with VMware. If we're just doing straight up physical servers, same thing. And so I've already got an existing appliance configured. We're going to just bring it up, and I'm going to show you how it looks in here. And then we'll go over to one of the servers. Matter of fact, while this loads, let me kind of show you what happens when you install that appliance. Azure Migrate appliance right here, it's going to let you do some things. And so we'll show the rerun, the prerequisites here. But essentially, first of all, it makes sure that the machine is able to connect to Azure. Kind of important. Then it's going to make sure it's synced in time. And then it's going to have a whole bunch of updates. These updates are really important because we need all the latest version of the different utilities that's a part of Azure Migrate. And so after that, we go ahead and we create that key that we had, that we talked about. We actually take that key, we put it in here, and then we log in with our Azure account. So there's multiple levels of authentication that are going on, and security methods to make sure that you're actually allowed to migrate. So someone isn't just saying, "Oh, I got this person's key. I'm just going to migrate something in their account." That's not cool, right? And then after that, what we need to do is actually talk about the server. And Abel, you were really nice enough to give me a server to work with already, and it's this guy right here. Where is he? Come on. It's this guy right here. And so we're going to actually just go onto this machine that you've already got running, if I believe. It's got SQL. It's got .NET applications within IIS. And what we want to do is then provide this as a discovery source. So first here, what we do, and I'll show you real quick, is we provide credentials. So I say it's a Windows server. I give a friendly name. It's your user, Abel. So I call it Abel. And then I put in the password. English is tough for me today. Sorry about that. And so then once you do that, you're actually able to now add discovery sources, the machines that we're going to actually look at. And so you can import a CSV of these, which I think is really cool, because if you have a long inventory list and you can download the template and fill it out, you'll be able to get started. You can add just an IP and my credentials, like whatever you've actually given it the short name, and then it'll do a verification of them. But sometimes you just need to migrate one machine. And in this case, I've just gone ahead and put in localhost because we're just working with this machine here in a demo sense. And so then you can just revalidate everything. And then once you've finished and you've confirmed that everything's validated, that your username, your password works, you can click Start Discovery. My login expired, no big deal, but we've already done that discovery. And so I want to show you what that looks like. So let's go back to the portal Abel, and let's go to Azure Migrate. And so I've discovered my server after running that on the appliance, and I've provided the server's IP, I provide the credentials, and as you can see, it's gone ahead and it's logged in. And now it's going to go ahead and when it comes up, it will provide us all the information that we need about the exact VM that or the VM or the physical server we want to move. Let me stop this. Cool. Let me refresh just to see where this is. Sorry about that. You know, when you do it and you do it live, sometimes things take a little while. Anyway, so we'll click Discover. It'll come up. I promise you, Abel.
So talk me through this, right? It'll go ahead
Sure.
and discover the machines. And once it discovers the machines, we've got that appliance running, or the agent that's running. And then it will just start does it first discover the database or discover the web app? How does that work?
So what it does is it does a discovery of the physical hardware first, and it provides you the ability to actually do what's known as an assessment. And assessments will look at all the existing infrastructure. It'll look what's running, and then it'll give you an idea of whether or not it's actually able to be moved over into Azure. So it's going to give you kind of like a compatibility matrix that you can look through. Let me go ahead and shut some stuff down so we can take a look at that. I might just need to gain back some CPU.
Cool.
So what we've done is we've discovered our servers. We know exactly where they are, what they are. And if we go ahead and we click discovered servers right here, we're going to get information for our dependency that we're going to need, Abel. You see right here? So we're actually able to kind of see, 2 cores, how much memory, the disk, the storage, and then what we can do is a dependency analysis. So we can add additional information, and then we can go ahead and create assessments. So this is the big part, Abel, that I think we want to show you is right here, the assessment of the kind of VM that we're going to be assessing, the machines discovered from the Azure Appliance that is going to be where we're going to do it. And what we can do is actually add some additional assessment profiles. So where we're going to want things to be, the kind of storage, how reservations are going to be set up, the VM type series that we think we may need. And then we can just go ahead and click save. And then it'll actually allow us to go ahead, click here, and pick our on-prem server. So we can create an assessment name. We'll just call it J. Just throw in some. And then what we'll do is we can actually put it into an existing group. And you can see I've already done an assessment. So I'm going to show it to you. Sound good, Abel?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go back to here. We'll go to assessments. And what we're going to do is see I've done a few. And we get here a bunch of information. We get our performance-based sizing. We get our discovery source information, which was appliance-based because we installed our appliance. We see what the confidence rating is of migrating. And then what we do is we can actually see what it thinks about our migrating readiness. So it'll actually look at how much storage we have. It'll look up where all the storage is configured. And then what we can do is we export this assessment if we need to, and it gets saved in an XSLX file. Sound good? So now once we get past our assessment part, we get to the big part that I know you're going to want to think about here is what happens when we want to actually replicate. So we're not going to be able to replicate everything right now, Abel, but I'm going to show you real quick what would happen is what we can do is select the type of virtualization that we're going to be replicating. So whether it's a VMware hSphere, a vSphere, Hyper-V, or some physical servers, we can pick that. Then we pick our appliance that we configured to actually do our migration. And then we can pick our process server, our credentials that we've configured, and then we can import assessment information. It's not really set up for this right now because we're testing it Azure to Azure. But if we were doing, say, physical to Azure, we would have in here our assessment information, or we can go ahead and we could put in our information manually. And from there, we would hit next, and then it would actually provide us with the ability to then, from there, do a migrate. So let's take a quick look overview. You can do step 1, replicate, step 2, test migration, and then step 3, finally, you migrate.
That's amazing. So it basically walks you through everything you need to do.
Yes. And so there's other really useful tools here, Abel, and we can turn my screen off now. There's a lot of really useful tools that we could work through. There's a really great database migration service that we can use. And I'm going to bring up one more thing. If you go ahead and bring up my screen 1 second, you'll see here we've got a database assessment that I've done. And so we can go ahead and take a look at, here's the server that I'm running it, one server, one database. Here's your database name, Abel, Mercury Health DB, which is the application Mercury Health that you've been running in this whole on-prem to the cloud series. And if we go ahead here, we'll actually see what it says that we can do here next. And so all I did was use the Azure Database Migration tool. And that's just something that you can go ahead and download and install. So we can see our assessed databases. We can choose where we want to actually migrate it to, and really get everything we need. So we can see it even tells you where we can send our database, whether it's a SQL DB or a VM in our lift and shift situation.
So again,
right,
super cool, right? Basically, you use this Azure migration tool. It kind of walks you through everything you need. It assesses the server. It figures out everything for you. You press a couple more buttons through your wizard, and it just starts migrating everything. It migrates your app and also migrates my data for me, which is a big thing because, this is a demo app, so it doesn't have a lot of data. But potentially, I have gigs and gigs, maybe even more, right? So it will just handle all of that for me.
One of the things I'm really looking forward to, Abel, in our next time you and I are going to be together, we're going to talk about moving databases. I've done a lot of that in my career. And so we looked at just the big lift and shift kind of idea of let's just take a machine and throw it in the cloud. We'll use the same type of hardware setup, and we'll use as much of the same configurations. If we can image it and bring it over, or we can use existing tools to do something similar, we'll do that. If it really means, Abel, that we actually just take two of the same types of hardware and just git clone into our new server, we can do that too. The whole idea, though, is we're not really making any changes to our application. The last thing we want to do in a lift and shift is change our app. What we want to do is just have our app run on a server in the cloud.
That's super cool, Jay. Now, lifting and shifting, it really does seem like that's the easiest and fastest way to get your on-prem app into the cloud. And Azure Migrate, man, that seems like a fantastic way to help you move your app into your cloud VMs. Now, for more detail about all the stuff that Jay was talking about, check out those links down below and make sure you join our next episode. Because now that we've lifted and shifted into the cloud, why don't we rub a little DevOps on all this and make everything better? So join us
next time on the
DevOps Lab.